Welcome to Mythtastic. In today's video, we'll be reviewing the video game Resident Evil 8 Village. Before we start, hit the subscribe button to see high-quality content about a variety of topics and new videos every other week. Also, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. We will avoid major spoilers, so no need to worry. The storyline of a game is important when making a good playing experience for players. If it's too complicated or ridiculous, it can really get in the way of a game. Luckily, Resident Evil Village is a simple story that doesn't try to overdo itself on the plot. It follows up from Resident Evil 7 and has you play as Ethan Winters for the second time. Except this time, instead of rescuing his wife, he's stranded in an isolated village, trying to rescue his daughter from cult-like superhuman monsters. Ethan's character can come off as corny or underdramatic in some situations, or dialogue with other characters. An example of this is when his wife is brutally murdered right in front of him at the beginning of the game. Ethan just acts like it was as small of an inconvenience as clogging his toilet.
Chris? What the hell?
Sorry, Ethan.
No! What? Why?
Other times he'll have no reaction to stuff that he should, or say obviously dumb things while you're playing as him. Ethan's character develops as the game goes on, and it starts to be less of a problem once Ethan meets the Duke along with Miranda and her children. That's when he starts to get a little bit better. The Duke and Heisenburg are really well-made characters that make the interactions exciting and entertaining to see. Heisenburg can be funny at times. Whether that's intentional or not is unsure, but regardless, it's fun to see him on the screen. Any background information on the character's origin story or the village and its civilians have to be found and read through notes, which can be a pain considering nobody plays video games to read paragraphs. The climax of the game is when the story gets good and intriguing for the player. The final boss battle is really cool and challenging enough to make it fun, and the end of the story is pretty good and works well to tie up the Resident Evil 8 story. Aside from the story, the gameplay is decent, which is good. The first-person perspective makes you more immersed when you play, and makes jump scares and moments of suspense much more horrifying. Lower-leveled enemies are more common, and there's less of invincible enemies chasing you like the last game. When fighting, the block feature can easily be abused to avoid taking a lot of damage, as well as being able to push enemies away. Sometimes, the common enemies just stand there while you're fighting them, making them easy targets to kill, or can even be easily avoided by just running to the next area. Anytime there is a boss or enemy that chases you around, they can easily be lost by running out of sight into another room, and they won't even chase you for a long distance. It would have been a lot more fun and scary if there was more of a getting chased aspect of the game, as well as an option to hide from enemies kind of like Outlast. Resident Evil Village could have benefited from enemies in certain areas that chase you around constantly, like Mr. X from Resident Evil 2. A lot of the issues are fixed when you put the game on hardcore mode. Enemies do a lot more damage even when you're blocking. They're also a lot faster, and hit you faster as well, so they're much more of an obstacle than on standard mode, which provides more of a fun challenge when beating the game. The invincible enemies that chase you run a little bit faster, but can still easily be outrun by running ahead into a room and waiting it out. The game is a lot more challenging on hardcore, and is a great experience that players of Resident Evil Village should try. Hunting is a new feature that lets you kill animals from fish and chicken all the way to rams and pigs. Once you gather different types of game from hunting, you can bring the ingredients to the Duke, who will make a recipe that permanently buffs players' stats, like increased health or reduced health taken while blocking. The hunting feature is fun, and new in the Resident Evil franchise, that should be used more. It makes the game have a welcomed open world feeling, and what makes it even better is that it leads to something with a good reward, so it makes it motivating to hunt even more whenever there's an animal nearby. Looting is more encouraged than ever, with players able to search for weapons and treasure all over the map. Like hunting, looting gives an open world feeling that gives players more to do than just kill zombies. Being able to explore the whole map and return to places with proper keys to unlock rooms adds more variety to things to do while playing, which just hooks you on the game even more. Some enemies and parts of the game were way too easy. In specific, the first two trials from Lady Dimitrescu and Angie are way too easy and aren't much of a challenge to pass. It's very disappointing, especially in Lady Dimitrescu's trial. with each of her daughters being a boring fight of just running in circles while shooting them. It's way too easy since it's literally doing the same thing in each fight with all of the daughters. The boss battle between Lady Dimitrescu is at least somewhat entertaining and a bit of a challenge, which kind of saves the stage. It was still fun to navigate through the castle, and was probably the coolest area of the game, so it's a shame that a lot of the boss fights were boring. The second trial doesn't involve any enemies and is a puzzle you have to solve in order to move out of each room in order to reach Angie, which was pretty fun. Some of the puzzles are actually a bit challenging and make you think, so it was entertaining to try to find clues and put things together. The boss battle didn't involve any fighting, but rather a game of hide and seek with Angie, which is actually unique, except it was pretty easy to find her each time, so that's a bit disappointing. The last two trials between Moreau and Heisenburg is where the bosses and gameplay starts to get more challenging rather than just a cakewalk. Moreau's trial area makes it to where you have to time when you move to different areas of the map, or else you'll die from his giant fish form that lurks in the water. It keeps you on your toes, as well as forcing players to make quick decisions, which makes a fun playing experience. Moreau's boss battle was actually somewhat challenging, and wasn't just running around repeating the same thing. He can make it rain acid that can kill you really fast if you don't run for cover, as well as shooting vomit as he chases you around. Heisenburg's trial can be really annoying to navigate through since the factory you go through is enormous and has you go back and forth a bunch. It isn't as cool or fun to play through as the castle was, but at least there's more enemies to handle, which can make reserving ammo a huge struggle. The battle with the fan-mutated zombie is fun, since its weak spot is on its back, so you have to let it charge at you and move last second in order to shoot at it. The boss battle with Heisenburg is probably one of the most enjoyable parts of the game, and is unique compared to the other boss battles since how you fight him is very cool, and isn't the traditional gunfight you'd have with other bosses. Any further explanation would be spoiling it, so you'll have to see for yourself. The final boss battle is also pretty good, since it provides a challenge and has different phases that you have to adapt to that keeps it interesting. Overall, the game is a fun playthrough that provides more things than just killing zombies, and is really put together well, from the story all the way to the gameplay. The next Resident Evil game will be an exciting installment to the franchise if it has some of the same open-world feel as Resident Evil Village did, and it is improved on. We give Resident Evil a 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to our channel and click the bell to get notifications every time we upload a video. If you have any video ideas you would like to see, leave them in the comments section down below, and your idea might be our next video.